Thank you for staying with us. Now let's look at our preparedness for natural disaster. Every year, the rainy season in Nigeria results in a level of flood, depending on where you're talking about. Sometimes they can be fatal, especially in the rural zones where drains do not exist. In July 2012, I remember that particular period, flood killed about 363 people. Over 2.1 million people were displaced. The flood was referred to as the most harmful one experienced in the last 40 years in this country. It also affected about 7 million citizens. In September 2016, after the drought, the annual rainy season came, which caused a significant damage on crops. According to the UN, 9,000 houses were completely destroyed. The number of livestock lost was about 26,000. This year already, several states like Benue, Imo, Kogi, Lagos have experienced flooding. So we have flooding almost every rainy season. But how prepared are we for it? We're going to be talking to climate change and environment expert John Osonwa, who is in our studio in Abuja. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
We also have an environmentalist, Professor Emmanuel Oladipo. Oh no, that is Dr. Paul Abolo. Dr. Paul Abolo, an environment strategist, who will also be joining us from our studio in Abuja. Good morning, Paul.
Thank you so much, Alera.
Good. Professor Oladipo will join us in the course of the segment. Now, let me begin with Dr. Abolo. Doctor, this seasonal cycle is known to us. We have the dry season, and then we have the rainy season, and then we have the harmattan. But it looks like when the rains come, we are never prepared. You can react to that question after this break. Thank you for staying with us. Dr. Abolo, I was asking you that how is it that even though we know that we have rainy season every year, we seem to never be prepared?
Yes, thank you so much, Alero. The issue is beyond preparedness, because what we are having is beyond the normal. So how do you prepare for something that is absolutely abnormal? That is one. Number two is that there is a reluctance for people to want to leave their habitat. If you look at the issue with the Houston flood, there was an argument between General Honorary and the governor of Houston, when the general insisted that the people start leaving ahead of time. And the governor felt that it will cause a lot of chaos and disruption of the city if people have to move. So within us here, there's a reluctance for people to want to move, and there is a hope that the situation will not be as bad as it is. And that is a wrong hope, because there are already issues. Scientists have proved it, that the effects of global warming and climate change is what we are seeing, and it is extraordinary. We know we have issues with the drains and the rest of them, but the intensity of the rain, like in Imo State where you have 12 hours of rain, and if you watch within the last 10 years, the frequency has been much more than it had ever been. So the preparedness we need to look at has to be long-term. We need to fix our structures, we need to put things in place, and then we need to engage in climate change investment to be able to raise the funds that is needed for mitigation and adaptation. So we need to prepare from all sides, and then we need to create some level of awareness and sensitization. We need to engage the grassroots. We need to engage people at all levels to understand that our practices, our policies, and our actions need to be such that will help to prevent the effects, the environmental impacts when such things happen. So basically, we need to do two levels of preparedness. One, we need to do the primary, and we need to do the secondary. The secondary is what we need to do in the immediate, but the primary is that we need to look at long term, and we need to engage funds, like I said, in the Paris Agreement, to see how we can engage practices, engage the funds to be able to adapt and mitigate the impacts of climate change.
Okay.